Hey, YouTubers, Tasman here, bringing you another episode of Learn JavaScript with Foundry VTT. And as you can see, there has been an update to Foundry. It's kind of minor, more bug fixy type thing. So from what I've seen, it really hasn't had any kind of effect on what we've been doing or what we're going to be doing. Excuse me. You might notice by my voice that I have kind of got a bad cold. Don't worry, not COVID. But yeah, so I got done blowing my nose before I started this, so hopefully I won't be sniffing during it because I know that's kind of annoying. But in my career of YouTube, I think there's been very, very few times that I haven't at least put out one episode in a week. And so, unless I'm on my deathbed, hopefully you're going to at least get one episode a week. And I think I've been doing YouTube, I have no idea, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. So anyway, in our last episode, we kind of finished up with arrays. And don't worry, they will be coming back, as will functions, because we're kind of glossing the surface right now of all these different things, learning the basics, basic methods and things like that are attached to those. And then later on, we'll delve in a little deeper. But, we're just learning to swim. We don't want to jump into the deep end right away. So anyway, now we're going to talk about one of the main things that you'll see in Foundry VTT, used for lots and lots of stuff. And in most Java programs or JavaScript programs, you'll find that these are very useful. We're going to talk about objects. Excuse me. So when we first started this, we did say the word objects. We did say the word arrays. We did say, I don't think we said functions, because we were talking about data types and data structures. And one of the other data structures is an object, which is kind of like an array on steroids. It does more than the array does, and gives you ease of access a lot better. Because with arrays, you have to remember what element it is. You can list it out, but really there's no way to actually change what that element is. With objects, that changes. So let's jump in. We're going to go here. I keep finding this thing working, and then I find something that doesn't work with it. So we're going to need our code real quick. Control C. And we'll jump in here to number 8. So 08. And this is definitely going to go multiple episodes. I'm going to try and keep them around 20 minutes, but of course we don't want to stop in the middle of a thought. So we kind of want to at least complete that. So we're going to talk objcts. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and hit F12 so I can get everything aligned how we're going to want it. Probably about here. Go ahead and paste our code in there. There we go. All right, so in our previous episodes where we were talking about arrays, we kind of created an array that had, like, I think it was players or something like that. It's been a little while since I recorded that, probably almost a month ago, and then just schedule it to update one a week until we get caught up, and then I have to record the next set. So I believe we were doing player characters and kind of name, class, level, and stuff like that. So we're going to kind of continue off of that. We're going to go ahead and do our character. I'm going to use Umis, who was my halfling druid, Ghostwise halfling. I'm just going to paste it in because I'm a slow typer, as you guys know. So here we have an array, and if we count the elements, we know that this is 0, this is 1. And by the way, I think in my original example, I had it all just one long line. This makes it a little easier to read, kind of the same way we do our formatting of our blocks of code. So, we have our opening and our closing for our primary array. And then inside we actually have a secondary array. And I think we did that in our other one. So we have our array of player character. His name is Umis. or element 0 is humus, element 1 is amber shake, element 2 is ghostwise halfling, element 3 is druid, element 4 is hermit, element 5 is 1. And then we have another array, so this would be element 6. Well, how would I say that? Array 6 element? I don't know. New array in element 6, and in there we have 0, 1, and 2. So this all works out, just fine. We've seen this all work. Let's just come down here. We'll do sole.log, and we'll say this is our array. So we'll just do array, and we'll go ahead and put our array called player character. And if we run this, you will see that, yep, sure enough, there's our array. Here's our subarray, or our multi-dimensional part of our array in element 6, just as we said. So it's not bad. However, with objects, we can make this same thing better. And we can convert this into an object quite easily. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and copy this. And we're going to create another thing here and paste it. And now we're going to convert this over to an object. So the first thing is it's not an array. So instead of having the little bracket, we're going to replace that with a curly brace. And we're going to do the same thing on the closing here. I'm going to go ahead and where is it? Shift. There we go. So now we have curly braces. And the only other thing we really have to do is give titles or names, properties for each of these items. So the way we do that is we simply say what we want the variable name to be. So we're going to say f-name. Well, let's do name like that. And we're going to stick a colon. And that's all we have to do. So now we have a property of first name, and the value that's saved in that property will be humus. We're going to do the same thing and do the next one. We'll do a name and a colon, and everything else is the same. Still the comma to say the next one, and you could do this all on one line. It's easier to, for me, it's easier to see it here. So this will be race, I believe. So we'll do RACE colon, and this will be class colon. Now class actually is a reserved keyword. Maybe we'll just do CLS instead for class. I'll have to remember that. And then, of course, we have background, BG, like that. And then we want this one to also be an object. So we can actually give this stuff more meaningful information. So we're going to call this items and put our colon. And once again, instead of being let me just delete that. Other words, it wants to do the opening too, or the closing. We'll delete that and do that. So now we've converted this one into an object inside the object. However, we haven't given this anything. So maybe this will be what's in our right hand. So let's do R hand colon. Maybe I should spell hand right. Do L hand colon space, and maybe what's on our back. So now, as you can see, oops, not a comma. What am I doing? Delete. So as you can see, we've now done the same thing. Now we're going to get an error because we already used player character and it's a constant. So we're just going to call this one PC instead. So if we do the same thing and do a V and change this to PC, Now, if we run that, we'll get an error. Because, why are we getting it? Oh, we didn't give a name to this one, which is level. And is that the only one? I think that might be the only one. There we go. So now we got both of them. So now if we look at it, if we look at the array, yeah, it's gives you all the information, but you're not 100% sure what everything is. Like, what is this one? Is it an experience? Is it the level? Is it modifier or something like that? It's just these numbers. But if we go look at the object, we can actually see that, oh yeah, okay, so the one is the level, this is the last name, this is the race. And you'll notice with objects, once again, they are not in any specific order. Usually it's properties is the order by alphabetic. So it's not necessarily like the array where this is always has to be 0, because now we have named elements. They can actually be anywhere, because BG, whether it's down here or up here, is still going to be BG. Where if 0 is down here, well, obviously it's going to be 6. And this becomes 0. So that's kind of your biggest difference. Now, some other things with objects is we also have methods within objects that we can have. Now, you notice this probably looks a lot more like what we were seeing when we were doing some recon into Foundry's file structures. So if we go to, what was it, Canvas, or we could do the game tokens. Let's do canvas.tokens and controlled 0. So this will be, I don't know if any of them are being controlled right now. Hit enter there. Let's close that for a second. I hope I did save it right. Yeah, it saves when I do that. So right here we have our guys. Let's just go ahead and select one so we have a selected. And then if we go back in here and execute, now you'll see we actually get back, oh, actually not execute, we just need to hit the up arrow, and now we actually have a token that's selected. And you'll see here that, you know, we have our structure that we were talking about. Alpha is one, bars is another object. If we go look in bars, we can see all this information about the bars. If we go look at, where is it? Down here under data, which is an object, we can actually get the information about the specific token that we have selected, what the lighting is for them, you know, elevation, if there's any elevation on them, display bars, the values of the display bars, the display name and such. So we can get all this information because of objects, and it makes it much easier for us to be able to do that. So let's go and clear that. So this is the, let's see, what are we at? We're at 13 minutes. I think we can continue a little bit more. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and look at it. Actually, no, I just remembered one other thing. So you might have noticed that sometimes we use string literals, I think is what they're called, where we do the little back tick, and then in here we put $, and then the actual curly braces to access that. That does not work with objects and arrays and other things that are more complex than a simple value. The reason it works with other things is because they break down and return a single value. So, you know, if I wanted to look at UMIS itself, I could say something like this, console.log, and this is going to get into actually accessing those elements of the thing. So what we do is first we have our actual variable, or our actual object is PC. So let's do it like this. We're going to say play player name, and we're going to put a colon here, and now we're going to actually use the string literal. I did this wrong. highlight, and ticks. All right, so we're going to stick in player name, and we're going to do first name space last name. And then this. So the way we access it is first we have to access the object itself. You might already know this by what we were doing before. So if we do PC, and then we can do a dot, because we're accessing inside a PC, we want fname. We want the actual element. So we're going to do fname, and then we want PC dot lname. And if we go and do this and execute, you'll see we get back Umus Amber Shake. So that works fine because it's breaking this down and returning a single value. Now what doesn't work is, let's say we want to go ahead and do console console.log. And if we wanted to do that same thing and say, let's do play player object, and then do that. And now if we try, oops, I forgot the $sign. If we try and access the object inside the string literal, where it's going to try and convert, it's going to try and do this as a single value. And because it's multiple values, you'll actually see that we just get object back. Object. So it's just telling us what it is because it's a complex object and it cannot return something complex inside a string literal. So this is why we're doing the single ticks or the double quote marks, and then we're doing comma and then the PC out here. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Because this is complex, it can't be simply a string literal. I think that's what that's called. I'm trying to remember if that's what it's always been called. I'm going to go ahead and stick a console.log. Do that and maybe that. So we have our little continuation guy there. All right, so we obviously right here we kind of talked about how to access those elements, but there's actually two ways we can access. There's one called dot notation, which is here where we do the object and then dot notation to drill into the specific part that we want. There's also what's called bracket notation, and this will look more like when we're accessing array elements, and in fact it does kind of work the same. There are disadvantages and advantages to both of these, which we'll go over. We're at 18. I think we can go over it. We might go a little longer than 20 minutes. All right, so first let's talk about let's go ahead and grab this guy. Bring him down here. Is that an uppercase C? I think it is. I think I did that wrong. It would not love me if I did that. All right, so let's go ahead and do our values. We'll do dot and bracket. B-R-A-C-K, bracket, N-O-T-A-T-I, 2-A-C-C-S-S-E-L-E-M-E-N-T-S of objects. All right. So let's do dot notation first, which we did above. Let's say we want to access what's on this character's back. So this is going to be a little more complex than just accessing first name, last name, because we're actually jumping into a secondary object, right? So let's go ahead and we will do dot. My ear is really being weird because it's clogged and stuff. I keeps unclogging and clogging. It's annoying. So let's do console.log, and we'll go ahead and try and access back item. So whoops, didn't want to do that. So go ahead and do this. Actually, we're going to access the direct item, so we can do this as a string literal. So on back, on bavak, we'll go ahead and put a colon, and then we'll go ahead and do string and that. All right, so let's see. And don't forget to do that. So on his back, if we want to access his back, give you a second, see if you can figure out how you would access what is on his back. You can pause the video if you need to, because I'm going to jump right in. I'm not going to sit here for like 5 minutes going, okay, wait. So anyway, here's the object, and you want to access crossbow. So let's go ahead and do it now. So in order to access the crossbow on his back, first we have the PC, right? Because that's our main object. Then we're coming in here to a second object called items. And another dot. And finally, we want the crossbow, which is his back item. So we will then do back. Is that what you got? Hopefully. Let's go ahead and execute that and get an error. Let's see what our error is. Caught in promise. Why are we in a caught in promise? We're not quite the promises yet. Oh, because console is misspelled. C-O-N-S-O-L-E, C-O-N-S-O-L-E. You guys probably caught that, by the way, huh? There we go. All right, so here we can see on his back, he has a crossbow. So we got the exact thing we wanted by using our dot notation. So pc.items.back. So now let's try doing bracket notation, and we're going to try and access what is in his right hand. So now let's go ahead and do bracket bracket notation. And we're going to do console.log and do parentheses and go ahead and close it all out and then do our little ticks. All right, so let's go try and figure out what's in his right hand. We're going to use what's called bracket notation. Now we'll see if you can figure it out on your own. Once again, what that is. So I'm going to say right hand, and my guess is you probably won't get it right on the first try, because there's a little trick to bracket notation. So here's our PC. We have the PC items, and now we want what is in his right hand. It should say staff, right? So go ahead and pause it here, try and figure it out, see if you get a lot of errors. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. So bracket notation is a little different, where each of the names actually has to be in single quotes. So, and this can both be good and bad. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So let's go ahead and access the right hand now. So we're going to access the object. So object is not going to be, the main object is not going to be in brackets, because that's the main object. So, oops, but we're not doing a dot, we're going to do a bracket. So our first bracket is going to be items, because that was the same there. But in order for it to work, if we do items, it's not going to work. We actually have to put this in single tick quotes, like so. Then, right up to that, we butt up another set of brackets, wrong brackets. We go ahead and put our second set of brackets, and this will be the R hand. And of course, that has to be in the quotes as well. So if we run this now, you'll see we get an error. Because I have a $sign out here. Oh wait, no, that's right. Or is it? Oh wait, let me think real quick. PC items. Oh, we don't have our closing brace. It went away. Right here. I think that's what it is. I think that should work. There we go. Right hand is the staff. So you might think, whoa, that is a lot more typing because we actually have to, for a dot, we have to replace with a bracket and a tick. And then the next dot is going to be a tick, a bracket, tick, so on and so forth. But the advantage to this is we can actually use variables and stuff in accessing the content of the brackets. So let's say, for example, we want to access our character's name. So trying to think, what's the best way to say this? So it can take computer properties or expressions. I think that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and bring our console log down here, holding control. And let's go ahead and this is the advantage of bracket notation. So bracket can take expressions or computed property names. So a computed property name. Bracket notation can take, and it's just going to have to go on a second line like that, which is ugly. But, I mean, if we stretch it out, it won't. Hold on just a second. I need to blow my nose. Okay, we're back. Had to sneeze and blow my nose. So hopefully you didn't get any of that. All right, so now let's talk about, let's say, for example, we want to access the first and last name. So what we can actually do is let's create a constant. C-O-N-S-T-A-N-T. What am I doing? Const. I don't know what I'm doing. And we're going to call this name key. Name key. And what we're going to do is set this to the value name, uppercase name. So N-A-M-E, like that. So this might seem a little confusing right now. And this isn't the best example of it, but I think this might be a good enough example. So now let's go ahead and do a console.log parentheses and go ahead and do that. I'm going to do this Control Z, Control C, and V. So we have we're going to access first name and last name. So what we're going to do is we're going to say FIR, first name. Oh, I didn't put any quotes. And once again, this is your choice because we're accessing a direct element or it's getting boiled down to a single value. We could do this with our string literal, or we can do it this way. No real reason I'm doing it this way, just so you know. So we're going to do first name, comma, and now we're going to say we're going to access PC. And if you look at our name here, we can see that both of these that we're trying to access have one thing in common, is this name, right? The uppercase name, which odd enough, we actually called this right here. So what we can do with the bracket notation is we can actually use expressions in here. So we could do PC bracket, and we could put in quotes here and do F, and then append to that our name key, like so. And what this is going to do is at runtime, it's going to say PC, and it says, oh wait, I gotta quickly do this. It will append the word name to F and get the F name. We're going to do it as an expression in this one just to make sure it works right. So we're going to do it here. We're going to say last name. To be honest, Umas did not have a last name in when I created him. I actually had to come up with one for this. So let's go ahead and do our string literal thing here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say PC bracket. And this time I'm going to use double quotes. Wait, what did I do there? I'm going to use double quotes just because we use single quotes here. I kind of switch up sometimes just so we can note that, yes, these are completely interchangeable, single and double. And then we're going to do L, and we're going to append to that name key. And if we run this, if I did everything right and didn't screw too much up, we'll go and clear this. You'll see that we got first name Umas, last name Ambershake. So you can, hopefully you can kind of imagine some places where, yes, this could be very handy. You know, maybe with attributes or something like that. You could, if you had all your things called dex attribute, strength attribute, or at dex and str, and by attribute at the end, you could do something like this to access all of them. And you could set it up in a loop where it's just changing this value right here to what the main part is. Hopefully that makes sense. I think we are going to end it here. We're already at 31 minutes. I didn't think we were going to go that far. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you learned something. And you're feeling like this is a useful series for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Oh, and click the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter. Check out my Discord and my other channels. Don't forget to tell other people about my channel. Have them check it out. If they like what they see, they can sub, and we'll just grow the channel. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.